You got SWAT. So Shauna says it was still allowed back in 1980, 1981. I was a freshman in high school. If you didn't dress for PE, you got a SWAT and allowed to sign a big old board.
Who swatted you? Was it like a big, strong ass, like muscle bound wrestling coach? You know,
probably
professional.
They used to check. Oh my God, that's just they want you to be tortured. That's crazy. That's
kids out there selling padded jeans. Padded jeans.
Yeah. That is just crazy. I mean,
that's wild.
That's terrible.
Crazy to me. It is.
That's terrible.
It is. But you know, people are strange. We're all strange. And in mass groups, we become even stranger.
I would say we tend to revert back to I don't even know what to call it, but like it's again, we're all not far from the days where they had like the stocks where people would be out with their hands and head in like a big wooden bracket.
That's
like,
horrible.
That's not far. Like I can see that coming back somewhere.
For sure.
This next thing you know, you're like, in Utah, they discovered a small
cult town, locking people up like that, just sitting because of something like not dressing up for PE and shit.
My Lord,
put a student in the stockade.
It's like what? I mean, yeah, I was watching somewhere that said there's one thing for sure that you could almost certainly believe it, as human beings have been very dangerous to human beings since the beginning of time. Like they have not one decade short of carnage across the world. And I argue with people all the time when they talk about it's because of religion. I go, you are fucked up if you think it's because of religion. There's unreligious countries that do carnage, like, you know, like this is a human experience, man, and people will find any reason to get creatively aggressive. You know, we're like the most dangerous things on the planet. Creatively kill people.
I can't think of any other, unless you count like a spider. I can't think of any other animal that like designs a way to torture its victims, like builds contraptions.
Like, I'm going to build a diamond web to eat you, Mr. Fly. Just a diamond, not the full. This is going to be a special piece of art. Have they like their little French hats on? Killer whales are also creative too, man. They find a way to kill you. If they find a way to kill you, they're going to have fun with it. Like they get killed for fun. They killed a train. They're called killer whales, but dude,
they kill fun. They kill the train. They are killer whales. Everybody, killer whales.
Killer Whales is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Eventually, somebody's going to come out and start banning people for calling them killer whales. Just like they called the murder hornets. They were like, we're going to change the name of the murder hornets to a more classically accepted name. We're going to call them very aggressive hornets.
Misunderstood hornets.
Misunderstood.
Who lobbied on behalf of the Hornets? I mean, who
exactly.
To the sponsors.
I'm not even going to get on
They
mine.
say it was a hornet in human's clothes, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, man, we are strange. I always think the strangest thing is, just seeing all of that, just ridiculous aggressiveness. You know, it's insane. I sent you guys the stabbings in Canada. You know, hearts and prayers go out to those individuals. One of the things that I was thinking about with that is Chris Rock's joke, where it basically was like, we have all these mass shootings, but we never see a mass stabbing. And then, of course, Canada is a mass stabbing. And it kind of just takes those sales out of his joke to a certain degree, because he's like, what did you do with a mass stabbing? You don't get out the way. And he's like, stab. Oh, he got that guy. Oh, he got that guy. Oh, he got that guy. Well, it happened. Somebody is really good with knives, I guess. And it kind of goes back to that whole point, right? There's aggression and violence, whether there's guns, knives, rubber bands, shoes. People are going to get creative. Like, look at prison. They take toothbrushes and kill hundreds of people every year. Toothbrushes and soap.
Yeah. If there were no weapons around in the community, there'd be like some sort of like serial slapper or something. The slapper has struck again. Masked man fucking up people.
But put a pepper on his hands.
But I'm thinking, the stabbing is it's quiet violence. Only the only noise is like the person being stabbed and maybe somebody around who sees it. Like mass shooting, you hear that. That's like, what was that? But have you ever been in a crowd and like you see something, you're like, oh, I wonder what's going on. And,
just a whole bunch of people dropping.
Right. And nobody's yelling like he's stabbing. I mean, I think the one person who yells, he's stabbing people, run, that would get you to move. But if everybody's trying to figure out like why are people just screaming all of a sudden, like you could get stabbed in that melee as you try to figure out like what the hell, what's going on? And then you got it. And before you can say anything, he's moved on to a couple of other people. So
yeah, you can stab a good 6 or 7 people quick without people knowing it.
Right. And I guess that would be mass for stabbing. But no, I was just thinking about that. And like a serial slapper, you'd hear that. You're like, is somebody
you'd
slapping?
Hear that.
Is somebody slapping? Is somebody slapping?
Did somebody just
get
yeah, because people go, the sound people make when they get slapped is always super violent. Like, what the fuck? And everyone's gonna turn around and look and just start seeing a bunch of heads turning.
we cut to a group of people in a small town meeting. All right, guys, he struck again. I mean, ever since our town banned weapons, which I still think is the right move, anything that could be used as a weapon has been removed. Everything in our town is soft and nerfy or pillowy. And also there's very aerated, as we all know, so you can't suffocate people with it. So we've done a good job, but now I feel like we're a little bit understaffed for handling the serial slapper that's been going around. So I want to get you guys' opinion. Like, is there anything we can do to catch this individual, to stop their reign of terror, their slaps of terror?
I think we should ban people with hands.
All right. Well,
if we just cut off
parents,
those hands that aren't working.
We all have hands in this room.
True, but we have actual, permanent community-based jobs. We need our hands. Other jobs, you don't really need hands. I mean, if you're
name 3 jobs you don't need hands, Clarence.
Donut maker, movie theater.
I think he's really onto something here, because if we all got our hands removed, the person who didn't want to get their hands removed would definitely be the serial slapper. That kind of makes sense, right?
That's interesting. Exactly.
Now hold on a minute. Now this is Sarah from Sarah's Soups and Breads.
Oh, we know
from
you.
Maine.
We know you. Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, but listen, I need my bread every morning. I've got the freshest bread in this town. People come from other towns just to get my bread. Now, if I lose my hands, what am I going to need it with? My feet?
All right, Sarah, hold
some
on.
Hooks, and you put the hooks in on the stub where your hands used to be, and you just.
Sarah, if you don't mind, I'm going to talk to these 2 gentlemen over here in the other side of the room.
Okay. Fine.
Did you guys hear that? Sarah did not want to get her hands.
She was very.
No, she didn't want to give him up. Yeah,
didn't want to give him up.
I don't believe that bread. I don't believe that. You could totally make bread without hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
that's a really good cover. You know,
look at the size of her hands too. Those are be a pretty
pretty
loud
big and
slap.
strong. Yeah, they're strong hands.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep an eye on Sarah.
Okay,
All
expected.
right, Sarah. So I'm sorry, I just had to check on
Yeah.
something else with these gentlemen, but you were saying you need your hands
Yeah. Well, we
to
all
make
really,
bread.
yeah, we all really need our hands, but I really need them to make bread and to
Aren't there like machines that make bread now? Like, do you really have to make it by hand, Sarah?
Don't you have assistants that work in the store that can also
Yeah,
help
if
you?
if all your assistants were handless, couldn't they devise a way to use their stub arms to make some bread?
now, y'all are asking too much. This bread shop has been in my family for over 50 years, and from my grandmother on down, we've been using that recipe. We have a certain number of times we need it. We have to use a certain number of fingers. It's all very hand specific. And losing my hands would mean losing my income, and then I would just be homeless on these country town streets.
You're saying you came from a long line of people who use their hands.
Yes, we make breads and soups.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of slapping involved with making that bread. Am I right? Like in the process, you gotta beat the dough up.
You need it. You just slap that bread, yeah, and you get it all where it needs to be. You put it off to the side and let that yeast rise, and you bring it back and you punch it a couple of more times and slap it, and then you put it in the oven.
How do you perfect your slapping technique?
Well, I have a room in my home with several different instruments that I use to get my slaps real strong. I have a punching bag, but I don't punch it. I just slap it and just slap it.
We cut to this turned out to be a movie that John is working on. We cut to John talking with the producer. John, look, you told me this was going to be the sequel to Julie and Julia. I don't think you've ever seen Julie and Julia. This had nothing to do with it other than them talking about bread.
Well,
what's this serial slapper sub story going on?
It's my homage to Stanley Kubrick. I don't have the budget to work with, so I had to take and extract the story of Julie and Julia and fashion it into a more contemporary piece, because a lot of these people nowadays need to just get the shit slapped out of them, just knock some sense into them, and then the world will be a better place. So I felt connected to this character.
I'm kind of glad you said that because the council sent me here because they're worried about this movie, and they told me that if John can't make this movie right, I got to paddle him in front of the whole cult.
The whole cult.
Yeah, I got my cloak right over there.
That's what they said.
We need it. Yeah.
Okay. They didn't say nothing about giving me more money towards the budget.
You've been asking for more budget every time we meet, John. This is
sorry. They're ready for you to date him if you're ready.
And scene. All right, I think that's Against Host Nothing show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, y'all. Yeah, if you see a sex cult, make sure it's full of people you want there to be in there that you find sexy. If you see a movie cult, make sure you like the movies they're worshiping. Lots of lessons to take away here. Lots of lessons.
All for the okie doke.
Before I give shout outs to the chat, John Tandy, Amici, any other takeaways from you?
Oh, I just had one.
Yeah, those are the main ones for me. Be careful what kind of cult you join.
Yeah,
it's a big choice.
Try a few out. Try a few cults out. Don't settle on just one.
Be open about it. Let people know this is what you're doing. You're a serial cult enthusiast. and you want to dip your toe in a few and see which one has the best benefits. Or
you're not
longevity.
rushing into a decision. Yeah.
Not at all.
Tandy.
Yeah, that would have been mine. That and I'm glad the public discourse has moved over to not beating children in learning environments, to enhance their ability to learn. Children can learn without violence.
I like it. Yes. Keep that
And
in
if
mind.
you want to join a cult, that's on you. Send your kids elsewhere. Don't.
For sure.
All right, then. For John, for Tandy, for me, for myself, at the Can't Tell Nothing show, for that murder hornet that John's after.
All right. You don't want to get a cease and desist letter, Antoine.
We are out.